This episode of My Bloody Judy is sponsored by HorrorPress.com. Howdy, howdy, and welcome to My Bloody Judy with your final forgets, myself, Zachary Patton Garcia.
And Ian Carlos Crawford.
Are we scared? Are you a little spooked?
No, I probably will be later on when I'm high and going to bed.
It's always when you're high, right? Yeah. We just got done watching The Conjuring, so that's
which
fun.
I like.
Which, yes, absolutely.
I do think it still really holds up.
Oh, absolutely.
On, multiple.
It's a modern classic. It really ushered in modern horror movies as we know them today. Like The Conjuring is, you always have the one movie that kind of sets the trend for the next however many years. You know, we had Halloween do that. We had Scream, and this did that for the modern horror movie that we have today. And so we just got done watching it. We actually recorded this 2 years ago.
2021.
We were trying to bank episodes. And we recorded this, but we were still down. I believe we were still down in the basement. So you were real scared down there when I remember I just on the phone with you.
I've told you though, the dark is what scares me the most.
Yeah.
And
there's a lot of basement in this one.
Yeah, there's a lot of fucking basement in this. As a kid, so our basement's finished, but still looks like a basement. You know what I mean? Yeah. And as a kid, that's where I would play with my toys because my room isn't that big. So I'd play with my toys in the basement. And
that's fucking scary and that's creepy.
Well,
that's creepy.
That's where we had my brother, we had a small TV and my brother had his Nintendo on it. And it was kind of finished, there was a carpet. But
there's a carpet. It's okay.
But
creepy. There was a carpet.
When the air conditioner would go on or whatever, it would always make a loud noise.
Yeah.
And I would stop playing and leave. Anytime that one of the things went on and made a noise, that's when I would be done playing because I would get scared. So yeah, I picked The Conjuring today because I was trying to think of a movie that's fun for us that I knew we would both like and that yeah. So that's why I picked this. I was gonna pick It or The Faculty, but in my brain, It is so long, but It is only 15 minutes longer than this.
The second one's pretty long too, though, right? It might be because of that, because to me, they kind of mesh into one movie.
I hate the second one.
I have not seen either of them since I saw them in the theater, honestly. And I don't dislike them. I like both of them, but,
I don't like the second one.
It's because Ian doesn't like gay people. There's gay people in it.
It's just not that scary. I don't know. I feel the first one is really scary, and then the second one is there's moments of but it's too long.
I've never found a clown scary though, so I don't even think the first one's scary. But this, I'm scared of some ghosts. I'm scared of a paranormal. I'm scared of my closet's open right now. Anytime it gets real windy, I don't know what it is. If somebody can explain this to me, but when it gets real windy outside, we have this attic, but it's one of those attic doors, but not one that you pull stairs down. It's just you push it over and you have to figure out how to get up in there. And that little
we have one
piece of plywood goes flying up, and so it's all tilted and out of shape right now because I guess it's been real windy here lately. So I'm scared of that. My bathroom door's open. I'm a little spooked about that. And I'm scared of the hands coming up and going.
So it's funny in this house. There's a small attic above the garage and then the big attic outside my door. And it's one of those where it's just the thing and you have to bring your own ladder or whatever to get up. Those are those still scare me. That's where we keep luggage. And I get scared to get a suitcase down because it's fucking pitch black and every horror movie someone dies in an attic.
Well, and because there's all of these stories of people breaking into your house and going and living up there, and while you're asleep, coming downstairs and grabbing food and crackers and shit and going back. I've seen a lot of those. So if it's a ghosty, I don't know. I don't know which one's worse, but yeah.
So while watching this movie, we had a lot of Zach was ready to kill me because I get a lot of the haunted house shit mixed up of older movies.
I don't even know which ones you were mixing up. Poltergeist, Amityville Horror, all of them.
I was well, my parents were friends with this couple that lived in Tom's River. I didn't say Tom's River, but that's what helped me.
You said my parents were friends with the couple who lived in the Poltergeist.
I was they live right by the Poltergeist house.
I was in California.
Then I was wait, is it this house? And Zach was just like, "What the fuck are you
I
talking about?"
had no idea. I truly had no idea what you were talking about.
I googled Tom's because Tom's River is a town in Jersey.
Yeah.
Tom's River horror movie house, and it was the Amityville Horror House.
Grandpa's just struggling a little bit. Okay, Grandpa is like forgetting, a little forgetful sometimes, especially when we watch the talkies. You know,
just
so
just un poquito.
did you see this one in the theater when it first came out?
Yeah, I probably saw it in. I very much might have seen it in one of the theaters that we saw Stream 7 in, or Stream 6.
Some bed bugs.
I probably went to the Regal Square, Union Square one because that was like my theater I would go to.
I went and saw this one with my brother. I think we were just I don't even remember when. I think I had already been in college, and so I think I was home visiting, and me and my brother were just at the mall and like had walked past the theater and saw that one was playing, and it was like in 5 minutes. Yeah, and we just went and saw it. I don't, and it was fucking terrifying. Like this one really like sat with me for a long time, and it felt like something I hadn't seen in a really long time, you know. And it felt like I feel like up till then horror movies were really like on a steep decline.
Yeah. And we were getting a lot
because we had also just come out of all of the like the remake craze and the reimaginings and all of those, and so this was like it really revitalized shit. Like James Wan did a phenomenal job with it, and I remember my audience was going bananas over it. And if you know me, you know I love an audience reaction, right? And so the scene where she is playing hide and clap with her daughter and the hands come out of the wardrobe, the audience was like going apeshit over that.
I just remember that I was about to say I think I walked home from this, but no, that Sinister, I had to walk home in the dark like 10 blocks.
Sinister was scary too. Sinister was real scary, and Sinister was one that I fell asleep watching the first time because I was watching it with a boyfriend and we were on the couch watching it, and I fell asleep, and it was just so loud at certain points that it would wake me up. And so
sounds terrible.
And it like stuck with me, and I couldn't. And then I had to go and watch it again because I wanted to rewatch it because I really liked it. And you are talking about Sinister, right? Ethan Hawke. Is that what you're talking about? Okay, let's be clear here.
I thought about that because of the attic, since we were talking about my attic.
Yeah,
because
that one was real scary too, though.
I think I feel like I reference this all the time, but in Grady Hendrix's Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires, the scene that scares me the most is when the vampire's on the roof and she can hear him walking.
Oh, no. It's when she's in the attic. That for me is like, or maybe the most tense for me. But I know which part you're talking about.
Yeah, like that. I do think that scene is tense. But like the scariest for me is like she can hear something. It's like something when something's where it shouldn't be. And in Sinister, he hears someone walking in the attic. Mm-hmm. And that, like, for me, even though I know there's a lot like more terrible scenes, that scene is the scariest for me in that movie. Because like you don't see it, you just hear it. And that was when I lived in Astoria, and I remember the theater was like 10 blocks away. So there wasn't a train or anything. You just walked. And I just remember being so scared because I saw it with a friend who didn't live the other way. And I'd walk home by myself in the pitch black and like at like 1 a.m. and I was just like,
well, Sinister has the same thing that this one does, in that it has characters doing things that they shouldn't be just because of like especially like during sleep, like the scene of the little boy like coming out of the box because he was sleepwalking. Like they're sleepwalking in this too, or the little girl when she wakes up. Joey King's in this. Joey King when she wakes up and is like pointing at the door in the shadow, and she's sharing the room with her sister, and her sister's like all freaked out. Like, that scene, stuff like that is so scary to me.
Yes, that scene like still fucking works. I mean, I always like it's like combining both things that I like, right? The dark and then you're not actually seeing the thing, but she is. I don't know. I think that's like really
well. I think that's really scary about ghosts too, and that's something that this sort of universe toys with sometimes. Is that a ghost can show you just because somebody else isn't seeing what you're seeing? A ghost can show you what they want to show you, right? And that doesn't necessarily mean they're going to show it to the person right next to you. And I do like that this universe kind of toys with that.
Yeah, So I also want to point out that I think the title credits are really good in this.
Oh, in the opening. Or do you mean like right after the Annabelle opening, or
the like scroll? Yeah,
even the complete like beginning, right? We like immediately hit this movie with the like loudest strings that they can do, and they did that with Sinister also, or not Sinister, with
Barbarian.
Insidious and Barbarian. Yes, yeah. And that like jarring music like that always really
Yes.
unsettles me. And then it goes into the Annabelle opening, and the Annabelle opening is again, it's so classic, and we kind of like think of Annabelle now and how many sequels there's been, and like how
Right.
Annabelle is
Yeah.
kind of like a cultural like horror icon now. But like this beginning for Annabelle and like our introduction to Annabelle in sort of this horror landscape is kind of iconic, right? Like it was something that they couldn't have predicted because that's such a short part of the movie, right?
It's
And it
so
was
weird.
just,
Yeah.
yeah,
Like I think about how weird, because I feel like in theory, if you had told me, oh, this horror movie starts with like this short that doesn't really like, I'd be like, why bother? But they work, right? They like
yeah,
they do. And it's like its own like short little horror film.
yeah. Well, they accidentally stumbled on like this really great horror moment, and after this, every other movie, it feels like they're introducing little
Yeah,
baddies that
yeah.
they can maybe create a franchise out of, like that they did the Nun. I know in the second one, the Crooked Man was supposed to be a spinoff that never materialized, and I think
Yeah.
it's like dead in the water now. The Nun 2's coming out. Is it this year? I feel like it's this year that the Nun 2's coming
I
out.
don't know.
You haven't even seen the first one. We'll have to watch that one.
Yeah. But you
The
don't like that
third
one, right?
No, and the third one, the Nun just felt like a haunted house ride, and it just like I don't want a movie to feel like a haunted house ride. I want it to feel like a story.
Listen, for Zach to vocally say he doesn't like a horror movie, I know that I
Yeah,
won't like
I also
it.
fell asleep in the Nun when I was watching it the first time, which is terrible.
Okay, but
I hate
also you
saying that.
fall asleep
Yeah.
a lot in movies.
What the fuck is wrong with you? Shut the fuck up.
You do.
No, I
You've
don't.
told me that.
I do not do that. We all dozed off a few times in Skinamarink. Just kept waking up, and it's still going.
Wait, when we were watching, I took a picture of what my screen looks like. So it looked like the person I was on Zoom with was Skinamarink because it was just like your ceiling with the fucking
Hey,
fire
it's the
alarm.
exact
And
kind
like,
of shot. I'm glad you took a picture of it because you can tweet that and just say Skinamarink
yeah,
2023 or whatever, and they'll believe it. Yeah, this one. So like Annabelle is super iconic, and then we go into the Warrens, and just as a concept. So I think like what the studio bought the Warrens and all of their stories, so that they could make a
oh, did they buy
franchise out
like
of
all
their
of them?
stories. Yeah, I think the intention was to like to go further with all of their stories. And I think they even the Warrens got into like some like a legal battle along with the studio because I think they sold their story a long time ago to some other people to do the same thing, and I guess that's just what they were doing. It's just selling their story. But I love them in that. I love the idea of this husband wife duo and all of the ghost hunting paranormal stories that they can go with throughout this franchise. I know there's a lot of talk right now about the Conjuring 4 being like the last one for a while, and like they have been very clearly aging these characters up, which
Yes.
really annoys me because there's just a wealth of stories in here, and these actors are going to grow and age, and they could just do stories and every however many years until they decide to stop.
Yeah, yeah. Like they're normal human beings. They're gonna age. So just like, all right, keep them the same age they actually are.
Yeah,
Because didn't they give them a little bit of gray in the last one?
well, and Ed is like they're very much turning Ed into old man Ed now. Patrick Wilson is like with the cane, and it's like give us sexy Patrick Wilson for a good while, all right? Like 5 sequels, right? And then go away for like 10 years, and come back. But it's I just think they're so cool, and they have this room full of artifacts that they've collected because after they
Which
settle
is, I
something
do think it's
paranormal.
cool.
Well, and that's all your stories right there. There's plenty to do there. And oh goodness, in one of the Annabelle movies, third one, fourth one, whatever, Annabelle comes home. Annabelle is home now. And they have like a bunch of those stories come to life within this house. So you've seen that one, right? And
Oh
it's
no,
got it's got the bride, and it's got the people with the coins on their eyes.
shit, no, I've
Oh,
only seen
it's wild.
the
Yeah.
like origin one, but that isn't a really origin because she already exists.
It's not the best movie, but it has it has all of these Warren stories that I just
That
like.
is cool.
They have a wolf that manifests out of like mist, and I'm like, just make these movies, like flesh these out, because the third Conjuring movie is just what they go back to like a witch storyline, right? And they kind of combine it with like the devil made me do it, and
Yes, yes, yes.
and I feel like they have so many cases that they could do really cool shit with, and it feels like they're trying to shove so many cases into like each movie now.
Right,
It's
we
like
can, like,
almost
flesh
they're
them out,
trying to
yeah.
copy the formula for this one. But
'Cause
this one truly did it like the best.
Yeah, because like I don't hate the other ones. I just don't like them as much.
Yeah.
And I like, while I'm saying how much the Annabelle works in this one, it doesn't, I don't think it as much works in the other ones when they try to do it.
Yeah, and the second one truly is my favorite. Like I love the second one. I love the story of the second one. I love how long it is. I think the Warrens as a husband and wife do are so fleshed out in the second one, and you really feel the love between them. But this one really like nailed the formula, you know. And I just wish they would kind of go outside of the formula and try new things because they have this wealth of storytelling that they could go into. In real life, the Warrens were not that great of people. Did you? What did you ask? You said, so you asked me if I thought they were like the real deal or not.
Yeah.
What do you about you? Do you think they're the real deal?
So like, I just had this rant on our Yellow Jackets recording. Like anytime someone's like into spirituality or whatever, for me that goes in the like, I hate it, it's religion, like
Yeah.
basket. But my stupid fucking brain, and it's probably all the Hispanic women in my family very much are like, yes, ghosts are real. Yes, this is real. Like, you know, my mom's like big dream is to like have a medium come to the house. Like that's all my mom would do. Like, and like, you know, I don't know. Are the Hispanics like that in your family? Because like
Oh,
literally
absolutely. Yeah.
yeah.
You just like don't. There's certain things you don't mess with. You don't sleep on your back because demons get in. You don't like. There's a bunch of things. You have a list. You know, laundry
And like
list.
the superstition stuff didn't work with me. Like that never landed with me. But like the like maybe like I get very maybe like
Mhm.
I don't know. I just don't think, and this is completely not based on anything but like what I feel. I feel like at the very least, the Warrens, even if they were scamming, I feel like they believed that there were like I feel like they
Yeah.
believed it. Because like I said this to Zach while we recorded, like I read a piece with like an interview with the adults who were the children
Hmm.
from this house, like from the actual story, and they very much are like, yes, like there were
But
ghosts.
that can be true, and the Wardens can also be crooks of shit, right? And I'm not saying either way whether they are or not, but like this family contacted the Wardens and had the Wardens come, right? It's not like the Wardens came and told this family that their house was haunted. The family already knew that their house was haunted. They were looking for help, right? So it pre-existed the Wardens, and
That's
the
true.
Wardens could have very well just come in and taken advantage of this family, and because the family also said like it didn't stop, you know, like it didn't
The Warrens
stop.
actually didn't help any of these
Yeah.
movies that like because didn't in the Devil
Well,
Made Me
and the
Do It.
third one, yeah, and the devil made me do it. Those people said that the Warrens actually made it worse. You
Yeah.
know, like that. It didn't help anything. It just made it worse. Like I think that is the beginning scene actually of the third movie is that the Warrens come in, do this big exorcism thing, and really and cure it for
Right.
now. You know, do a
Right.
curing for now. Um, and in reality, they said like, yeah, the Warrens came in like they didn't do anything. You know, it's like I think they even like so this might be not factual, but I feel like in my memory they sued the Warrens or like took some litigation out against them or something like that. Yeah, you're doing the research. There you go. Yeah, the Warrens are questionable. You know, I think that there are definitely people who have certain sensitivity. I think we all have a certain sensitivity to something a little bit outside of our own reality. It's something, you know, whether it be paranormal or whatever. And I think some people are more sensitive than others, which is why they're able to connect easier and have more experiences and all of that. Did you
You are
follow
correct.
that?
They did sue the Warrens.
Yeah, see? And so if the Warrens were the real deal, I think it's just a case of, you know, Lorraine Warren being more sensitive to all of this stuff. Because let me tell you, I used to be obsessed with the Amityville horror. And the Warrens were, they had like, their names were heavily attached to that case, even though they really didn't have a huge chunk of involvement in it.
They just like went there, right?
They went there after, like, again, the story was already out in the papers and stuff like that. Like, they were already, you know, the story was already being put out there. And the Warrens came with a bunch of like, TV reporters and stuff for a night of like a seance, and that's where they took all the pictures and the little boys, like that picture of the little boy in the hallway. But I was obsessed with the Warrens after that because like they would always interview the Warrens for like DVD special features, like especially the one with Ryan Reynolds, the remake.
Oh,
I
really?
remember listening to like Lorraine Warren talking about it and being like, "That's as close as hell to as I ever want to get," or something like that. And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, she's so spooky," you know.
But they're not in the movie, right? There isn't.
No. They're not in the movie. They do in the Conjuring 2. They open, the movie with Amityville Horror, but it's like a brief little like Annabelle thing. So that's again like they should have done like a full Amityville
Right.
movie with the Wardens, and I think it would have been phenomenal because that opening is so good. But their credibility's been like questioned quite a bit, and it's just to be expected. They had a lot of cases under their belt.
So like this is another reason why I go back and like and I'm positive I've told it on the podcast a story about my
Yeah.
nephew, right?
The with your grandma.
Yeah. So like the other like
You might have told it. You told it during this recording, actually. So I don't believe people have heard it.
God, should I tell it?
You should. Let's go into it.
So like, and this is like I'm just saying what happened. I can't say anything other than like it was Thanksgiving, I think, and
Already sounds like a lie. Lie.
we were here, and like I'm more of a helicopter parent than anyone else in my family, than my nephew's actual parents. So I'm always like, where is he? I just like always am like, I worry he could fall down the steps or like, fall and hurt himself and we wouldn't notice. So I'm always the one that's like looking around. I didn't see him. And he loves playing on, or when he was younger, he loved playing near the steps because he could throw his toys off, which I did too as a
It just
kid.
makes me think of the little kid in Halloween Ends. Keep him away from the steps.
But so I didn't see him and I didn't hear him. So I just left the table to go look for him. And I figured he was upstairs because also a little bit like he loves touching my shit because like I am an adult with a lot of toys, so he loves coming in here just looking. And I noticed that the door to my grandma's old bedroom, which is next to mine, was open and it was still dark. The lights weren't on or anything. And so I was like, William, and I was at the top of the steps and I couldn't see him, but I like got spooked just because like that door was open and the lights were off and I knew the door wasn't open before because I'm very weird about always shutting that door.
Yeah.
And I would like called his name and he didn't answer me. And I like crept up to the door at the threshold and saw my nephew. So the bed's like against the wall, but in the middle. So there's like room on each side and there's windows above the bed and a wall. And my nephew is standing facing the wall in the pitch black. And like, why is a child doing that? Right?
Throw the whole nephew out. Yeah.
Like, and so immediately I was super fucking scared and the room was really cold, which like it could just have been a cold room, right? Like that's not crazy, but like adding to all of those together.
You sound like that character in a horror movie. You realize that, right?
Well, no, because I don't want anyone to think I'm like, it was definitely this. Cause I don't have an explanation.
No,
like
it was definitely this.
But like it was cold and he was just staring at the wall and wasn't responding either. Like I was like ready to cry. I was so scared. And I was just like, hey, can you come here? Hey, I need you to come here. Hey, like, sweetheart, William, I need you to come to me. And I'm so scared because I'm standing at the threshold of the doorway, just seeing him look at the wall. And I'm like, fuck, I need to go in the room. And I was so scared, but I ran in and I grabbed him and he was burning hot. And he like went like this and like jumped and then looked at me and then just like frowned and started sobbing. And I picked him up and ran downstairs because I was terrified too. And like, again, Hispanics are so weird. My mom was like, oh, he saw mommy. And I was like, you're being too casual about this.
Way too casual about this. Yeah.
And she was like, well, that's what happened. And I was like,
no, mommy needs to be on another plane by now. Okay.
Right?
It's time to go.
And then my dad, who's like, even though my dad's the more conservative one, he's very atheist, grumpy atheist. And he was like, he went in there and remembered his great grandma used to be in that room. And that's why he got upset. And I was like, why was he burning hot? Why was he staring at the wall, not responding? Like, why did he look scared when I grabbed him? And my dad was like, oh, because he was remembering her. So he was sad. So both my parents are on like complete opposite ends of what absolutely happened. And like, I'm somewhere in the middle.
Well,
of like,
that's a memory you need to get out of your mind. Okay. Because you're in the room right next to it. You're going to hear something. You're going to hear a cane.
When I am home alone, those doors, I can never decide if all the doors need to be shut or all the doors need to be open, but every single light needs to be on because like, I still like, I have to walk by that room to get to my room. And I think about that fucking all the time, Zach. And like later that night after everyone went home, my mom was like, okay, we're going to talk to mommy. Come with me. And my dad rolled his eyes and I was like, Mom, this is not a normal thing.
Yeah, no.
Like people do.
We don't, because that's also like demon's trick. And so it could very well not be mommy and it could be whoever else as like Annabelle saying, please help me. You
Well,
feel
like,
me?
and like
Adopt
I could
me.
cry telling the story because I just get so scared because I don't have a good explanation.
Yeah.
But like, she made me sit on the bed with her. She was like, "Okay, hold my hand. We got to talk to her." And my mom was just like, "Hey, mommy, you like really scared us today." Like, and
Mm.
like said some things in Spanish and was
I
like,
think that's
"Just don't
good
do that
though.
again."
I think that's good. I think that's good. And you haven't had any like craziness
Yeah.
after that, so it probably was that, honestly. We oh, goodness. It's always you always sound like the like stupid attention seeker
Right.
for saying
Yeah. You just sound
you have
crazy. Yeah.
experiences, but I have tons of experiences. At our last house, I am so certain that the last house that we lived in was haunted. Me and my sister, and I got it on video, man. Me and my sister heard a baby crying and banging on the door of the guest room one time. Um, we no baby in my house. We did a Halloween special one time, and so we had like gags set up everywhere, and we were filming our gags. And in the corners of certain places, while we're doing our gags, are other things happening, like doors like slightly opening or chandelier kind of moving. Like things that we had not set up. And so those were creepy. When I was a teenager, one time I remember sitting and I was like smoking on my roof or something like that, and I heard a like real sharp hiss in my ear say like I don't know, something with an S, because it was like real like stop it or something like that, something like real sharp in my ear, and it scared me so bad that now anytime I lay down and I close my eyes, if I think something's in front of my face, I can like visualize it and I have to open my eyes and it'll keep me up because I can't just like go to sleep.
I will get that where like once I'm picturing a scary thing, then I like have to
Yeah.
turn my lights on, have to turn the TV on because I can't stop thinking of the scary
I
thing.
have to be honest, your door with all of them things hanging there looks like tons of figures sometimes, and I would have to take it all down.
It's funny because you have said that before, and like that doesn't bother me. Just because like Ghostface is like I don't know, Ghostface doesn't.
I'm
It's
not talking
like,
about Ghostface. It's your hoodies and jackets and all of that looks like it's like a figure.
and you're the cowboy hat.
And just you have tons of faces just staring at you, right?
Well, and like I think I've said this before. The apartment I lived in Astoria with Kevin, and like this is something where I absolutely can buy that it was us just seeing things.
Yeah.
But so I lived there with Jason. Jason moved out with his now wife, and then Kevin moved into Jason's room. Both of them said anytime I wasn't like when I would come home to visit my parents, that it sounded like there was someone in my room. Like it always sounded like there was someone in my room.
Mm.
Um, and so like our apartment was long. It was like
Yeah.
pretty long. And it was like a little hallway to get to the bedrooms, but you had to go around the refrigerator to get to that little hallway. I would so many times I thought I saw someone standing like right next to the refrigerator by that
And you
hallway.
probably did.
And like, but it was so easy to be like, oh, I thought I saw someone there. But then Kevin and Jason both will tell you, oh no, it was haunted because we saw
Yeah.
like years later I mentioned it and Kevin was like, oh yeah, that was a ghost. I saw that all the time. And I was like, but you know what?
And these things aren't always malevolent, right? Like I believe that places hold energy, and I think somewhere like, especially like New York, where so many people have been in and out of those places, there's tons of people who probably died in that apartment.
The last tenant before us died in
There you
it.
go.
So
And energy, I do think places hold energy, and it's not always negative energy. Sometimes it's just like stagnant energy that just kind of is there. I do definitely believe that. Like again, like so this was based on the Warrens, and so this was based on a true story of the Perrin family who moved into a house and it was haunted and stuff like that. This movie like doesn't really go into all of that shit because it's a lot crazier than this movie like even painted it. I think this like the real house was like had a bunch of portals to different worlds, and it was like it got a little sci-fi, honestly, like a little fantasy sci-fi.
it's funny because looking this up, so many of the headlines said exactly what like the real story is even like scarier, even crazier.
I don't know about scarier, but it's just like a little bit more like wild, like, and it's weird that, or I guess it's already like a 2-hour movie ride, so it's. I guess you can't fit all of these
They
things.
have a lot,
but
there's a lot in it.
There's a lot in there.
I want you to know I'm sweating because I'm getting spooked.
No, it's but I think this movie did it really well, and I think all of the characters work really well. So the Warrens are great. Patrick Wilson, I will never say her last name. Vera is great.
Farmiga.
Farmiga.
I used to always say.
I always said Farmajaro.
I always said Farmiglia because I thought that's what it was.
Whatever. I've already forgotten it. It's Vera. But also all the other characters, the Perrin family. I am obsessed. I've been obsessed with Lily Taylor ever since I was a little kid. I first saw her she was in like a 2-part adaptation of Anne Frank, the Whole Story. like a book.
Does she play Anne Frank?
No, she's old. She's too old to play Anne Frank. No, this was in
You
like the
said you were a
90s.
kid.
I was a little child. Yes, Lily Taylor is older. Ian, let's
No,
see
but she's
how old
my
she is.
age.
Lily Taylor is 56.
All right.
Yeah,
I
so
would've said, like,
she
45.
played Mip Geese, and so I was like obsessed with the story of Anne Frank, and so I loved Lily Taylor, and I always pictured Mip Geese looking like Lily Taylor, and then Lily Taylor was also in one of my favorite horror movies as a kid, The Haunting, with Catherine Zeta-Jones, and that movie I thought was so fun. I used to act it out, and with all my toys, and
I used
build,
to play
like,
that with my toys.
yeah, and I used to like build like big like mansion like ballrooms with my cardboard boxes and stuff like that. And so I love Lily Taylor, love her being in here. We have a bunch of these kids are now out and working. Like they all are child stars who grew up. Like Joey King is really big. I had to list like every Joey King movie for you, even though I knew that you knew who she was. Like I knew it, and I just had to list one. I just had to land on one that you were like, yes.
But I haven't seen Kissing Booth. I just know what it is.
Yeah.
But also, with your accent, sometimes I hear like I don't hear the G.
Oh, you son of a bitch!
No,
kissing,
I don't-
kissing
no,
Booth.
what's her name?
Joey King.
See, it sounds like you're saying Joey Keane to me.
Joey Keane.
That like
That's some
it's the name.
bullshit. No, that's some bullshit. That sounds like some bullshit New Jersey, whatever. Gonna make me angry. I'm about to quit.
Suddenly Zach's like, I don't have an accent. What are you talking about? I've never had an accent.
Who's the guy that plays the husband? I forgot what his name is, but he was Burger. I know him as Burger in Sex and the City. He broke up with Carrie on a Post-it note, and then she went out and got high and got arrested.
What's the French dude's name? 'Cause I think I was thinking the French dude was named Burger. Isn't there a French dude?
Oh
that she
no,
dates?
his name is he's not French. He's Russian.
Russian, right.
Yes,
Ron Livingston is that guy's name.
Ron Livingston. Would have never. I'm not going to say nothing bad about him, but he's Burger in my mind, and I don't have a high opinion of him.
He looks like the other guy that's like a kind of handsome dad from Friday Night Lights.
No.
I get like mix them up.
Oh my
sometimes.
gosh, Ian.
Oh my god.
Give me a nosebleed. Ron Livingston is just one of those people. Like I'm fairly good at like separating actor from character. I cannot do that with Ron Livingston. I always think of him as Burger, and it makes me hate him with a passion. So, Ron Livingston, I see you in public. You might need a protective order, or
That's
order
to
of
square
protection.
up.
Bring a post-it note. And then we have, who's this guy's name? John Brotherton was in Fuller House. I'm in love with John Brotherton. I think he is so handsome. He's in Fuller House. He's got the mustache. He's the cop with the mustache in this one. And
He
it's
looks
just
more
like,
handsome on IMDb than he did in the movie.
I'm a sucker for the sideburns and a mustache, though.
Mm.
So, but like all the characters are really good, and like
Yeah.
they all have really good chemistry. All of Ed and Lorraine Warren like gather this team of people to help and like capture these ghosts on film and all of these things, and they all really work. I wish these people had gone into the other movies.
Yeah. I do think that's like a weird thing they didn't do is like bring anyone else. Because like, but also you and I are very big on like that kind of shit. I feel like not every horror fan needs like a
well, and
like,
in real life they
character
didn't
cast.
have that,
Right.
and I think in each movie the point is that they just assemble a paranormal team locally, but I think it would just be cool. I don't know, because there's a lot of really good characters in this. Who's the one guy that I like?
Shannon Koop.
And he was in Degrassi: The Next Generation. I don't remember him in Degrassi: The Next Generation either.
Degrassi's one of those shows that like I casually watched and enjoyed, but like I don't remember what
It
cast
says
is what
2010 to 2011. I don't believe
Oh,
I
the
was
new
super
one.
into Degrassi by that time.
cast. Okay, yeah, I wasn't watching that. I was in love with the gay guy, but I don't even remember what his name was.
Oh, Marco.
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
He was in Awakening. I don't know. The characters are all great. We love them. Little Judy, don't know who plays her, but props to you, girl, because he almost got hit with the chair.
And I say this all the time, but I really do think little kids, like, it makes it scarier if it's a kid, because, like, kids are basically helpless. Like, when she's locked in the room and she's just screaming for her mom.
But I need a kid to sell it, because I don't like kid actors generally. I think they're really bad. But I have to say, kid actors like these days are pretty intense. Like we had a period of time where we went from like the 70s and 80s or the 70s they weren't so great. The 80s they were a little bit better. It was like more like Drew Barrymore's, parents who wanted their kids in all of these movies to like would whip them before they would go out on set and make them cry. And then we went through like a lull where it was just the kid actors were just awful. They were terrible. But now I feel like the past couple years they've been real damn good, and they're all like growing up, and we're seeing them like in other things and like transition to adult and teenage roles.
I really do like, this wasn't the start of it, but I really do feel like Stranger Things helped bring that boom up, because it was like they were, you know what I mean? They were all really good. I mean, now they're not like kids, but like they were when it started, and they were all like 100% even in that first season. It's not like there was a learning curve with their acting. Like I think they were all just good from the start.
Well, I think all of these ones are really good, and there's a lot of them. Like there was potential for it to go wrong. We had little Renesmee from the Twilight franchise. She's fine. Joey King really sold it though. I don't know why people don't like Joey King. I love her, and she had one of the best like spooky moments in the movie.
Yes, she did. That is a moment that I think of a lot. Is her pointing to the dark and being like, "Don't you see it?" And then when the sister gets up and she's like freaking out, and she's like, "It's standing right behind you."
It's because you can really scare somebody like that, right? Like if you and I were in a darker room and I was telling you I saw somebody behind you and he was right behind you and he's coming closer, like. Hell, I don't know. I feel it. You could convince me. I feel it. I can feel it getting closer.
Yes,
what are some of the other scares you like then?
So that's the moment that sticks out the most with me, honestly, because like, I don't know. I just, it does all the things that scare Ian really well. And I think the kid, like you said, the kids just sell it so well. And they sell all of these, but the we were watching it together, and when the cop is like, he hears someone say something, and he looks, there's this long scene. And in my head, I was like, when he gets on the porch, something scary is going to happen. Brace yourself, Ian. Nothing happens on the porch. He looks, there's nothing, there's nobody. He goes back in, and then he sees a maid ghost, like from afar, and then walks towards her, and she's gone. And I was like, oh, I think I was mistaking this scene for something. And then as soon as he's walking back, she comes out and screams at him. And that like genuinely made me
And it's the scream too, right? Like we have the buildup, but it's also like the really loud noise. And it's not so much like they do the music cue to scare you, but it's the loud screaming that really is front and center and really does scare you. This scene reminded me of, because he does tend to reuse bits in his stuff. And so this also really reminded me of a moment in Insidious 2 where there's like a woman in white. She's like the mother of the woman in black. And I think she like knocks Rose Byrne out, something like that. She's like what you made me do, or something. Like, bitch slaps her. So this moment really reminded me of that. But another one, we already talked about. Well, I guess we didn't really talk about it, but like the moment where Lily Taylor is, all the rest of the kids are at school, and Lily Taylor's playing hide and clap with her daughter, and goes into the room, and we just see it like out of focus, come out of the wardrobe, and just like that always really hits me.
That like, and I actually do really like the corner of like, you could have missed it, like in the corner of your eye, and like it makes sense that she, she's blindfolded, so she's not like she's even missing it, but like. Wait, am I? No. Yeah, because then she talks about the one. Yeah.
Horror movies, the horror movie tropes like this, like really are annoying, but we go with them because they're horror movies, right? Somebody going towards a noise or going towards the danger, and they know that it's a little uneasy, right? But this works, and it's so effective because she's playing a game and has this blindfold, and so she's walking towards this danger and getting uncomfortably close to this, and has no idea. She's not scared. And then when she realizes her daughter's behind her,
right,
and she's terrifying. I'd have been out of the house in that moment, right?
And then like the other like call back to that when she gets fucking locked in the basement. God, that scares that is so scary.
She does. She gets her ass knocked out. She gets her ass beat throughout this movie. She gets thrown down the stairs. She comes back up. She's locked in like the little cupboard room, and she's like lighting matches. I don't know if would you light a match just to see if anything was coming up towards you, or would you just sit in the dark? I don't know if I could see it.
I don't know. I I don't know because my panic brain is so different than like my regular brain. I don't know because right,
It's
like
just I,
can't do
you could
anything
have
either
fooled me. I'd
way.
have thought that was the same brain for you. I don't know.
But like, because like, right, it's not like you can do anything if you see it. It's not like a person where you can just punch it. It's a fucking ghost.
I'll maybe dodge it a little bit. You can punch it. Brenda from Scary Movie would have punched it. Okay, she's the only character in a horror movie that has decided to fight back against these bitches by just knocking them. You know, rocking their shit.
So like, I don't know. Maybe if I thought it was a person and I was like, okay, we're gonna have to fight, maybe I would do it. But if I was like, this is ghosts, I don't know that I would. Because right,
Um,
like, what about you?
I don't know. Yeah, I feel like I just would be too scared to like want to see it coming towards me. But then sitting in the dark is just a lot scarier because I could see if you're sitting in the dark and then you hear the steps coming up towards you, coming up the stairs. I think that would be even scarier. But the fucking hands coming right next to her and clapping, and that's like
I hate that.
terrible. And that's like in like happening simultaneously with upstairs. This little girl puts her sister to bed because she's like banging her head against the wardrobe. I say just let her bang her head against the wardrobe. Just let her do it. But she like puts her sister to bed, goes over, and then gets attacked by the damn Bathsheba. You know?
So I think that the thing James Wan does chaos really well too, because right,
Yeah.
it's like that's a lot of fucking chaos, but it doesn't get lost. Like I think it's
Yeah.
each one of them is scary. But I almost wish something like that. Like I think that's the best moment of chaos in this
Yeah.
movie. And I almost wish it had been like later, because then
Well,
like we do
yeah,
get chaos later, but that's a scarier.
It is
moment.
chaos because Burger
Yeah.
comes home at that time too.
Yeah.
Like he comes because he was like away for work, driving this big rig, and he comes home, and it's just fucking pandemonium in this house, right? And the
Like
wife's
everyone's
banging
screaming
on the
in
door
different. Yeah.
upstairs. She's getting attacked by Bathsheba, and he's like, "What is going on in this house?" And we were making a joke. It's like he just walked into a house full of hysterical women, right? In the '70s, you'd put them away.
That's where they do electroshock therapy.
I guess so, man. But
God.
it's terrifying. Also, we have to like kind of give honorable mention to this house, being the house from I Know What You Did Last Summer. Amazing.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah, it's perfect. And I like every time so I could tell they were really filming in the downstairs. And like if you tell me otherwise, I guess it's a big shock to me. But in the downstairs, because I can see like moments where Helen was standing, and like you know, I can picture her there like, real closely. So I think the house is just haunted by Helen Shivers. She wants revenge against Julie.
I and that house works so well, right? Like,
Yeah. Well, we were talking about this and that how the hell does a house like this exist that has every horror element you could ever want, right? Like a weird, creepy driveway all the way up that's not even paved, just out of dirt. Creepy, like hanging tree in the back. There is a creepy dock with like black lagoon water, you know?
like not like a beautiful. It's like
Terrible, absolutely terrible, you know. And it exists. It's a real house. It's just a real location that exists. You know, people live there.
Yeah, God.
Could you imagine living there, looking at your backyard, and like seeing Bathsheba hanging from the tree? That's all I'd be able to picture.
I would like. I would just be always scared.
I'd have to hang a. I would. You know what I would do to fuck with people? I would hang a like a what are those things called? The swings. Do they have a real name? It's just like a swing, like a board, you know, and it's like a swing.
The swing,
Like
right?
I thought they had like a name. Tree swing. I don't know. I'd hang a tree swing out there because they'd fuck with people and they'd have to do a double take.
Isn't there? Does it not have a tree swing on it? No, it doesn't.
No.
In my head, I'm picturing one, but I.
You're picturing Bathsheba.
Yeah, that's what I.
Poor Bathsheba too, right? This real woman who existed in time and was her baby just happened to die, and the whole town ostracized her and called her a witch for it, right? And then hundreds of years later, a movie's made saying that she stabbed her baby and proclaimed her love to Satan. Never happened.
Also,
That's
but,
your
like,
legacy? Really, Bathsheba? That you do her like that?
I need to go. The name Bathsheba just sounds
It
like
sounds
a
witchy,
like.
right?
Yeah.
They just called her Shishi, you know? It was probably, she had probably had a cute nickname. It probably wasn't even that bad.
No, this is like a biblical name.
Yeah.
Bathsheba was the wife of Uriah of Hittite and later of David, according to the Hebrew Bible.
Well, she was also in The Conjuring and killed her baby and proclaimed her love to Satan.
Yeah, I'm gonna do Bathsheba Conjuring to get a better.
It's the same description.
Bathsheba Sherman, Bathsheba Thayer Sherman is the overall secondary antagonist of the Conjuring universe. Serve as wait, she's a secondary. She's like in the other ones.
I don't remember her in the other ones.
It
Y'all,
says
we have watched these recently. I don't know how I'm forgetting any of this stuff.
my brain's infecting your brain.
The real Bathsheba Sherman. Let's see. Okay.
Is that all?
I don't want the full like story of the Conjuring. I just want the real Bathsheba.
As for the historical records, confirm that a Bathsheba Thayer was born in 1812 and would later marry a farmer named Judson Sherman in Connecticut before birthing a boy named Herbert. Oh, God. And then it's a big picture of her from the movie.
Legend, I know, and they even make her look like that in the movie. She looked like a normal woman. She was a normal woman.
Just like a lady.
A little average, you know. Wasn't the cream of the crop. Wasn't pick of the litter, but you know, she was beautiful. She got married. She had babies.
I can't tell if this is telling me the story of
the real Bathsheba who lived next door. Okay, hold on. So I got it. Are there any photographs of Bathsheba Sherman? So there is a photograph here, and there is a lady that's just in the distance, and they're like, oh, that could be Bathsheba. I could pick out a damn photograph and say that lady in the background right there out of focus, that could be Bathsheba. You never know. Okay, the only photograph that has surfaced that could possibly include suspected witch. Leave this woman alone! Leave her alone! We are the daughters of the witches you couldn't burn. Is pictured below. It is a photograph of the Perrin family farmhouse circa 1885 when it was the Arnold estate. The real Bathsheba, who lived next door on Sherman Farm, would have been in her early 70s at the time. If not... So she's an old lady, too. She's an old lady, and they just... if not already did, since she passed away in the spring of 1885. Various videos promoting Andrea Perron's book, House of Darkness, House of Light, have featured the vintage farmhouse photo displayed above, zooming in on the woman in the middle when alluding to Bathsheba Sherman. It makes it nearly impossible for anyone to know her true identity. Okay, yeah, so we didn't know shit about her, okay?
Oh, so Bathsheba Sherman had been babysitting her neighbor's son when the young boy mysteriously died. Local doctors established that the child's skull had been impaled with a small, albeit fatal tool. Despite the fact that Sherman was the last to tend to the boy, the case never went to court, and local women were enraged. According to legend, but Bathsheba Sherman's son would never celebrate his first birthday, as his mother stabbed him to death a week after he was born. Okay. The way that was written was confusing.
It's just a lot of like legend.
Her husband has been said to have caught her in the act.
I'm sure he did. I'm sure he wanted a new, nice, young, pretty wife and just said, my wife's a witch, okay? Didn't they do that? I seem to remember something called the Salem Witch Trials, you know? Something like that might have happened in history.
I saw Goody Bathsheba Thurman with the devil.
Goody Bathsheba Sherman. Oh, justice for Bathsheba. Unless she was a real witch and like a Satan worshiper, then like...
Good for her. Good for her.
No. I believe in Jesus God, okay? I rebuke Bathsheba Sherman. But Bathsheba Sherman Annabelle. Yeah, I don't know. Good movie. Love it.
Also, Zach and I are a little delirious because we have just spent, Jesus Christ, 5 hours together looking at screens.
Yes. I feel like this recording's going fine, though. It's a funny one. We just did a history lesson on Bathsheba.
I feel like we're both a little like more loopy than usual.
I'm trying to think of what else to talk about this movie. It's just a good movie. Everybody knows this movie. Everybody's seen it like time and time again. It just is the modern classic, you know.
So another good scene is when fucking Lorraine falls down the like.
I rolled all over myself.
Got too excited.
I'm not even drunk. I only had like this much little alcohol left, and
I didn't even think you had any alcohol.
It was from yesterday.
Been sitting there.
It didn't taste as fizzy. Continue. I'm sorry.
When she like finds the noose and she goes and then falls.
Oh yeah.
I don't fully understand how that works. Like, I feel like in movies and shows they make it seem like houses
I
just have
love
like
that though. See, it's a playground. I love when you turn your house into a playground, right? In Black Christmas, the remake, remember,
right,
they
yeah.
have like, but it just does it and it goes all the way down, you know?
But like as a kid, I think I thought that's how all walls were in houses, just because like every
I
movie
did
that's how
too.
they
You
are.
open a wall, it's just studs, okay? It's just
Yeah.
studs. There's no room for anybody to fit in
There's like
between.
maybe this much
But I
room.
guess older houses, right,
Maybe,
were
yeah.
like that, you know. But I truly thought, I guess maybe not, because if you did, like that would like double the size of your house if all of your walls were like
Right,
human
yeah.
sized, right? That doesn't sound like.
But I don't know. Like I think of the weirdest old house I've ever like been in that wasn't like, ooh, going to like an abandoned house. My dad's parents, my dad, I forget what my grandpa was like a science engineer or something. They were like my dad grew up pretty like well off. His
Mhm.
parents were both pretty wealthy. Well, his parents were. My grandma
They
didn't work.
actually owned the house that The Conjuring was filmed at.
So they lived in like my dad was born in Louisiana, then they moved to Alabama, then Iowa, then New Jersey. And the house in New Jersey is this gigantic house that isn't that big when you get in on the inside. Like
Mhm.
it looks kind of small, but the ceilings are high. Um, I would buy that house, the walls might be that big
Oh yeah.
because there was like they were the first people to buy it. A man from France blew out the side of the mountain that the house is built into the mountain. And he like blew it up with dynamite to build the house, finished building the house, and hung himself in the house.
Those are
And they
just
were yeah, yep. And my grandparents were the first actual people to like live in it.
I feel like your family, the bloodline's cursed. I feel like somebody put a curse on it, Bathsheba.
But as a kid, that house scared me so much because we would sleep in like there was a tiny second floor, but it was like there was kind of a bedroom, but the attics were all little like tiny doors, like this big, and you pulled
Mhm.
them open and they were like crawl spaces and they were like lining the wall. So it was just a bunch of crawl spaces. And I was always positive that like a monster was going to come out of them. And then there was a doorway that led into this crazy old spooky mansion looking attic where they just had a bunch of dusty shit. And then across from that was a doorway that me and my cousins discovered we didn't know existed till we like were snooping. And there was this like weirdly perfect looking 50s bedroom. And it's because that's apparently where my dad and his brother used to sleep because there aren't that many
Mhm.
rooms in the house. And it was still done up like they were kids. And me and my cousins found it and we thought it was like this
Yeah,
like haunted
they
room.
should have acted like it was. They should have acted like they knew nothing about it either. They're like, that
Well,
must be Bathsheba's room.
then we just had a big pillow fight and we messed up the room.
There you go. Okay, little Ian Carlos Crawford. Everybody loves the story. That'll go on your bullet list for your eulogy.
But so like I feel like a house like that, I could see the walls being that big. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I
It's
don't
I
know.
mean it's just movie stuff, right? And it makes for a fun playground and I love shit like this and like a big
But let
enough
us know if you've
basement
ever
to
been in a
play
house that
in
you've
or
seen the walls are that
they are
big.
absolutely houses that exist. Yes. He really wants to know, guy.
I
He
just want to
really wants
know.
to know.
I want to see some fucking pictures.
Please knock down your walls and take a picture of the inside of them, okay? Let's do a comparison test, everybody. Um,
I
yeah,
know I'm
no.
going to be scared later. I can already feel that I'm going to be scared later.
I hope so. I hope so. No, it was the whole finale is really good too. You know, a
Yeah,
lot of things take place in this basement, and so you get like the one thing that's really good about this movie. I think is like I really like a movie that gives you a good idea of the layout and all the space in a set, and like they do that with Scream really well at the
yeah.
beginning with Casey Becker's house, and they do it really well with this, and the camera goes through it, like 10 times it feels like the camera has gone through this house, and so I'm like I could draw a floor plan of it. Um,
Yeah, this house I really do feel like I got the layout.
and the
Like
basement's really good, and we have this badass exorcism scene in the basement. I love a good exorcism scene, but a lot of them have been like exorcist knockoffs, right? Like a lot of people
yeah.
want to be the exorcist when they do an exorcism scene, right? But this I mean I guess this it's similar actually. I'm going to take it back. I think this is also trying to be the exorcist a little bit.
I don't know because there's never a is there
The face changes. It's like grotesque. It's horrible looking. You look at pictures of people from actual exorcisms, and
They got like fruit punch
they
mouth.
have like I mean they have wounds on their face from things they've done to themselves, right? But it's not like Reagan McNeil, right? It's not Lily Taylor with all of her grotesque makeup looking, but this really does work as an exorcism scene, right? The lights are flickering, everybody's kind of, I don't know, it works really well.
Yeah, and like again, the chaos. It's like everyone's being thrown around the room. Things are being thrown at them. Ed almost gets a dresser dropped on, and the
Yeah.
gun goes to shoot him. Like, and it all like works.
You have all of these moving pieces, and it feels like you have all of these moving pieces for like a good 15, 20 minutes, you know?
Yeah.
Like where things are just happening. And Lily Taylor just, oh man, I just cannot say enough good things about her, is that she really, really sells it, you know? One thing that just actors in horror movies just don't get the credit on is like having to do these things where, you know, actors act from experience, right? They know how to hold a cup. So if they have to hold a cup that has nothing in it, they have to act like it has some weight, right? Well, this is an experience you probably never had, and she's like really selling it. And, you know, she just looks anguished on her face and exhausted. She looks tired. And like this thing is fully taken over her, and she's screaming at the top of her lungs. She has this like really like intense wail, and it's just she deserves some sort of award for it. I'm gonna look it up, but I doubt she got one.
Maybe like a Saturn Award or
That's
something
what I was
like
thinking,
that.
right? Like a little something.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there are like, you know, everyone always brings up Toni Collette in Hereditary because duh, she also does. But like, there are a lot of other roles that are so fucking good, and I do think. And this I've absolutely said 1,000 times when we did like my trailer, I couldn't scream. There was a scene where I had to scream and I couldn't. I was like, every time I tried to scream. I don't know why.
I'm not really good at screaming either. My voice goes out like real easy when I do
Yeah.
that.
The one time I thought I did it really well, my voice cracked and just went out.
Yeah.
So Kim did all the screaming, and like Kim is very good at screaming. She was like, no one look at me. This is going to be loud. I know you're all going to like think it's weird, but I'm good at this. And she just sat down and she screamed her lungs out.
Well, she has a really good look in this too, right? She has like, and it's a very stripped down look where it's just like a plain pair of pants, a plain sweater, but it works so well. And her hair just looks messy, and she looks just like, because I know that they are doing, the idea is that this Bathsheba possesses mothers to kill their children, right? But it also really has that real world factor where there have been mothers, like high profile mothers, who have killed their children. One that comes to mind is like Andrea Yates, and you usually see them in court and they look pretty haggard and pretty like, you know, worn down and exhausted. And Lily Taylor just has that look here. And I have to imagine that they probably took some of that real world inspiration into this as well.
I can see that, yeah.
Yeah, and she works really well. And I think she steals the whole damn scene. Like, I know Ed is supposed to have his big moment where he's doing the exorcism, but it's just like a guy reading from book real loud, you know.
Well, you and I are going to be more focused on the women. It's like the guy's hot. That's the thing about the guy. Like,
yeah, Vera's really good. You know,
they also style her so good. I love her like very 70s outfits.
Yes, the blue one is really nice.
With like a giant collar.
The signature, like she looks like she's sitting in a flower. You know.
Yeah.
And then, you know, we save the day with the power of love. You know, Ed has his big moment where he screams, "I condemn you back to hell!" But it does nothing. It does nothing. Yeah. Lorraine puts her hand on Lily Taylor's head, and she's like, "Remember your daughter. Remember the day at the beach."
I will say I love this movie, so it doesn't bother me. But like I do fucking hate the power of love. Like, don't ever.
I have always heard you say you love the power of love. That you love a power of love moment. I was sure. Roll it back, somebody. Jared, roll it back. I know he said it before.
No, if you might be thinking of, I love when it's like people like come together, but like I don't love like remember you love someone and that saves the day. No. That's dumb. That's stupid. Like because the reason it bothers me so much because like what? If the power of love didn't make her stop, like that means she didn't love her daughter. No, it just means her over. Like
it's like now there's a Bathsheba in me.
Like,
I can't help this.
It's like, oh, someone spears me in the chest, and you're like, Ian, remember the power of love. And I'm like, oh, right, take it out. It's fine.
The power of love.
Like, no, I still die.
She's running with scissors, okay? She can't physically control her body, okay? Every time she does a hair flip, it's Bathsheba. We see her, you know?
But like, you know what I mean? It's like, yeah, you could say, remember you love people. Okay, well, I'm still dying. Like,
It just reminds me of that scene in Scary Movie 3 where she's like, bless you. You've with your love, you've lifted the curse and freed us all, freed my soul, or whatever it is. And they're like, really? And she's like, no, I'm just fucking with you.
I didn't
exactly
remember
what
until
it
you got
is.
to that end, and then I was
Yeah,
like, oh yes,
yeah,
I do
yeah.
remember.
I'm totally misquoting it, but that's exactly what this reminds me of. I hate the power of love. I love a Lily Taylor, so if she says love, I say love. And then we're okay. I mean, then
And
we
then
end
we're
the
good.
movie. We end the movie, and like we all are forgiven. I don't know. If my mom was trying to kill me, I'm trying to stab me, I might need a couple weeks before she touches
Like,
me again. Right?
yeah,
Want
don't
just a
hug
little
me right away.
space, please. Because then at the end, she's like dogpiling with all her daughters, and the whole. I would be the daughter off to the side, like,
Like,
just not right now.
maybe later, but
Maybe later, okay? This has been a rough night. I caught Dad at the truck stop glory hole, and you just tried to kill a couple of us, you know? I don't know. And that's The Conjuring. But
that's the movie.
that's the movie. Now I want to watch the other ones, though. We did do the third one. I remember doing the
thought we
third one because
did.
it came out, and they did the third one. But we need to do the second one now.
We put it out, right?
Yeah. I think we did a
Okay.
live stream.
Oh, because I do remember like talking about that with you.
Yeah. I don't know. Cool. What's our finisher, okay? What's our big move? Our big razzle dazzle.
Show your tits.
For Bathsheba! These are my Bathshebas.
It sounds like a dog. It sounds like a dog breed.
I'm gonna name Brenda Bathsheba. Okay, well, let us know what you guys think of the Conjuring. How much do you love it? If you don't, I don't want to fucking hear it. Before we go, I want to tell you a little bit about Horror Press since we are partnered with them. Tell us a little bit. What do you got? Ian, you write over for Horror Press. What do you got coming out lately?
So I freelance for Horror Press. I don't think I have anything coming out this month. Wait, no, I do. I have a Buffy piece and a Buffy anniversary piece coming out this month. That will come out towards the end of the month, and it's on the 25th anniversary of I only have eyes for you. Yeah,
Oh,
that's the name of the
scary
episode.
That's a
Yeah.
scary one. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's like they do the ghost. I don't love that episode as much as everyone else does, but I do think they do the like horror ghost stuff well.
Huh.
Because that's another like power
I
of
think
love
so.
one.
Well, but I think it's a good Power of Love one.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Like, it works.
They recently published my spoilery Scream 6 review and my Ghostface ranking, which if you disagree with me, tell someone else.
Tell somebody else. I don't give a fuck, right? Tell Horror Press. Email them, okay? Let us know how many emails we're going to get. All right, we will see you guys next time, and have a great rest of your week.
Bye.